That's really my joke. At 5'4", that's what people say at my club. They say, will you stand up? And then I stand up and they say, that's your cue. Stand up. No, it's exciting to be here. This is amazing. Isn't this amazing? You guys have built an amazing thing. I mean, I've probably spoken to 1,000 clubs across the United States in the last 40 years, and this is number one. I mean, seriously, I stood at the door to meet some of you on purpose. You see, a speaker judges the audience like the audience judges the speaker, and your ratings are very high. I'm a little rowdy. I hope you don't mind. I'm at one of those ages where I forget a few things. I don't use PowerPoint for a reason, because then you think I'm leaning on trying to remember what I should have remembered that I didn't remember. I talk too fast. I've had a number of speech coaches. If there's any coached. The last two that tried quit. This is me. So who's you? That's the big thing of life. I mean, I came to terms with myself. I'm a possibility guy. What does that mean? Is I got determined in my life to be what I wanted to be and deliver what I wanted to deliver, and I did it. At 53, I had completed my bucket list. I had a goal in my life to be free at 53. And the sad part of that is I got it done. And I was in Grapevine, Texas, and I was speaking to another one of the 3,000 groups I spoke to around the country, and my career was based upon manufacturers who had dealers who didn't like them. So a manufacturer has 14,000 dealers. The dealer doesn't like the manufacturer doesn't like the dealer. Because the dealer wants to be independent, the manufacturer wants them to be a license or a franchise so they can tell them what to do. You familiar with that, Mr. Roseville? All the time. But they figured out somehow I could talk to both sides and make both people feel good. And that was Ken Melrose at Toro. Ken heard me speak to a group, and he said, I got 14,000 people I want you to speak to. And I thought, wow, my career is launched. I didn't want to be a speaker, do you understand? I'm a broadcast journalist. I want Brian Gumbel's job. Then I talked to him once, and I found out he didn't want his job either. See the impressions we have when we build role models, and the role models don't turn out to be role models because we're trying to figure out how to be somebody else rather than be ourselves. Yep. On October 3rd of 2001, I was in Grapevine, Texas, speaking at that famous hotel. I was staying on the 9th floor, 150 dealers down in the ballroom. I came down the elevator and I started to cry. I don't cry much. You understand? That's supposed to be funny. And I came down, I was crying when I got to floor one. I didn't know why I was crying. I don't cry. You know, once in a while I get, soft, like my mother's Irish. And she said, love your way out of a lot of things, it works. And I was crying, I hit the button. I'm macho man, do you understand? I'm number one in market strategy in America for America's manufacturing organizations like Steel Chainsaw and Harley Davidson, and throw out all those ones that don't make any difference to me anymore. And I hit 9 because I couldn't face the group. Couldn't face the group. So I went back up to 9. I got to 9 and I remembered they had already paid me. I don't want to give it back. I hit 1, and when I got to 1, the meeting planner was standing there going, are you going to speak or not? And I went in and spoke, and when I left that day, I realized I had everything, but I had nothing. I realized I had to build a career around success, happiness, and wealth, and those are not important to me anymore. They weren't that day, but I didn't know the reality of it. I was looking for meaning and joy and fulfillment. Totally different. It launched my whole career into another focus on the reality that we all try to be what we think we need to be while our life is happening to us without our viewpoint. So what's your it? So Thom Monahan hires me to, he developed a group, Domino's founder, developed a group called The Goddess, and he had this Goddess group of people, not unlike you. They get together, they talk about their business a little bit, they get to know each other, and they network. And I went into Traverse City, and I was late because I was going through Detroit. So I got there late. They were eating the whatever it was that night, because I used to do dinners. I don't do dinners anymore. I go to sleep at 2 o'clock. And I wake up about 6. How many of you are with me? The rest of you forget what we're talking about, okay? And I walked in, and I have never met him before. This was the first gig with him. And he said, who are you? And I said, I'm your speaker. He said, I'm glad you showed up. I said, who are you? And Thom Monahan looked me in the eye, and he said, I'm the #1 pizza delivery guy in North America. Just like that, he told me what his it was. He told me what his it was. I said, how'd you come? Well, I'm a broadcast journalist. I work for the Milwaukee Journal newspaper, their TV station. I always know when I'm treading on an area I don't understand, ask a question, don't make a statement. You with me on that? That's a big principle of life. Don't know what you think you know, because you don't know it until you ask a question of somebody else, and then you find out things that you probably should know that you don't know. Does that make sense? Ask a question when you don't know. That's why I don't know anything. The beauty of being a journalist is that you get to know audiences better than any other speaker, because that's why I'm standing at the door. I was standing at the door because I could meet you, get to know you, and understand you a little bit better before I have to stand up here and say something to you that's meaningful. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Mr. Monahan said to me, I discovered one thing when I listened. Manny, I said, what was that? He said, they're already hungry when they call my pizza parlor. They're already hungry. They don't care how many types of pizza I have. They want to know how I can deliver. And he said, I built $1 billion organization around delivery, just happened to be pizza. That's huge. That's called specification application. I'll get back to it again. Because the mistake you and I make is our identity becomes work. And then we get to be 55 and our work goes away and we lose our identity. And then we pop up this retirement thing. I went back to school, studied Aristotle and the theologians, and I found out retirement is not in the Bible. In other words, you're trying to do something that doesn't exist. There is no way to define retirement. It's a reapplication of your gift to a higher call. Can I slow that down for some of you? It's called the reapplication of your gift to a higher calling. You're elevating your purpose in life to something that makes a difference for a change, rather than something that just makes change. Wow. And so that's where I've been for 17 years. I've been out there trying to figure out what I am, and I've learned some interesting things. I've discovered some interesting things. And you know, as Mr. White at Steel Chainsaw said to me, he said, Fred White said, are you always right? I said, yes, I'm always right. And I said that to every client I ever had. Are you right? I said, I'm right. And you know what I discovered in that? Because I'm not always right. But the beauty of that is they get challenged to do what? To prove me. The beauty of my relationship. They spent the whole time I had with them trying to figure out where I was, which engaged them at, well, you're doing good. Which engaged them at a deeper level of application than I ever had as a speaker. We're going to prove him wrong. We're going to prove him wrong. I spent 3 years with John Deere. It was a wonderful time, and the CEO of John Deere said to me, are you always right? I said, yes, I'm always right until you prove me wrong. Wow. You see, because they think it is tractors. Now, I came from Waterloo, Iowa, but some of you don't know that. Waterloo is the birthplace of the John Deere tractor. Not Moline, not Illinois. You see, John Deere couldn't make a tractor. They couldn't figure out how to make a tractor. They made a stainless steel plow and sold millions of them because John was smart enough to move to the lousiest dirt in America from New England, and that was southern Illinois. People needed a plow that threw the dirt off when they plowed that miserable ground. But they got to a point where they decided horses weren't going to make it, and they had to get a tractor. So they tried for about 5 years to get a tractor, and they discovered the Waterloo Boy Tractor Company. And in 1918, they came there, and they bought the Waterloo Boy Tractor Company, which became the John Deere tractor. And that's why they keep a plant that makes 200 tractors in Waterloo, the engineering plants in Waterloo, the engine plants in Waterloo. They employ 6,000 people in Waterloo, Iowa, the birthplace of the two-cycle engine. Now, you don't care about any of that. I was just laying the ground for the fact that the next point is John Deere forgot who they were. They forgot their it. You see, if you look back at the founding principles of most companies, and if you look into your created nature, you're going to find things that you've been missing. Because each one of us has an it. I want you to think about this. There's an it in each one of us. And we forget the it because we get busy. We forget the it because we want the it to be somebody else's it, so we look to other people as role models for what we need to be and want to be in our own life that we will never be. Because we're not. John Deere is never going to be red. Do you understand? And the sad part of that is, you know, the only difference sometimes is red and green for any who've been in the ag business. Yeah, they paint them green or they paint them red. Who cares about JD Link? Well, we can talk about that for hours. That's where the tractor talks to the farmer who doesn't ride the tractor anymore. Did I move that too fast for you? The tractor talks to the farmer who's in the house because he doesn't want to ride in the tractor anymore. But he doesn't want to be in the house, so we got to give him something to do, because if he's in the house, he's at home. So sometimes he just drives the tractor and gets entertainment on YouTube. The tractor's doing a better job than it makes collecting. Yeah, we'll go there. He said to me, I can't get out of parity. In other words, I can't make us different anymore. What would you do, Winninger? And I said, go back to your founding principle. He said, what's that? I said, make the farmer's life easier. Your job is not to make a tractor. Your it is to make the farmer's life. And he said, I don't believe that. So we have a research company. We went out and involved 5,000 farmers with 5,000 acres, and not one of them disagreed with us. My dealers easier. And John Deere decided they'd make the business easier. They changed the language. Well, if the language isn't clear, the receiver man, he doesn't listen and doesn't hear. All those 5,000 farmers said, it's not my business. It's my, you're not making my business easier. You're making my life easier. Yeah. Said, what's your it? Oh. Well, Kodak hired me, bring me in. He said, we make film. I said, no, you don't. I can, the fun part of me is I don't care whether I disagree or agree. Is that okay? You know, I'm not going to be here long anyway. And he said to me, what do we do? I said, you capture the magic moments of people's life. People come along after the moment is over. That was Eastman. That was Eastman's fascination with a little stinking camera that he gave to everybody. It wasn't about the camera. Had nothing to do with the film. The film is nothing more than a buried in technology. It's the application of technology to the highest need of the person you're trying to serve. That's the it of technology. So what's your it? I said to George Fisher, at that time the CEO of Kodak, I said, it's capturing magic moments. No, think about this now with the history of image capture. My iPhone captures 6,000 images, none of which I put on anything. It is a storage bank for pictures. Kodak could have been that. Kodak could have been the iCloud for image capture in the world. And it was too busy looking at what it was manufacturing as opposed to its changed application in the marketplace. It's the same with you and me. I spent 53 years of my life, 3,000 speeches getting people excited about something I didn't care anything about. I'm sorry. Get me started. You're wearing me down already. No, I talked about competitive edge. There should not be competitive edge in any business. There should be a leadership edge in every business. Leaders don't compete and competitors never lead. That's the goal. You want to be somebody who watches the rear end of somebody else to figure out what they're doing that they should be doing better and then think you can build a company around doing better? No, it's doing what? You differently. It's about being you differently. Leaders can't compete. Just going to do it better than somebody else, so you end up in a circle. You know this story. This is a scientific fact. 3 little worms are born on a leaf in Duluth. And they don't develop sight right away, but they have to eat right away. So they feel their way around the leaf and they find another worm, another caterpillar, and it's moving. So they're like, wow, it's moving. I better get on the board. So he attaches its head to the rear end of the other caterpillar. Lead caterpillar. But it ain't the lead caterpillar because it's another caterpillar. It's 2 caterpillar rear ends back. And then the lead. Think about it, this happens in every group and every organization in the country. We're all competing to be better, attached to the rear end of somebody else we think is going somewhere we don't know about. Then the lead caterpillar finds the rear end of the back caterpillar, and now they're going into what? And you know what they do? They die. They starve to death. What has happened to associations and competitive marketplaces? Because they do not attach themselves to the changing need of their premium market need. That's what Monahan was saying. I listen to my best customer. I don't try to be everything for everybody. And I thought this was just competitive truth. You know, I spent 53 years, wrote 6 books on the subject of competition and price wars and all that. I wrote the first book on Walmart that was published in the United States, which became the Crest book for Small Town America, Saving Small Town America, sponsored by chambers of commerce all over America to go in and help the small town retailers survive. That's where Ken heard me at Toro. He had a Toro dealer somewhere in New Ulm, and he said, we need this help. Our dealers cannot go out of business, because if our dealers go out of business, Toro goes out of Because they're our market. The first market share goes to the dealer. The second market share goes to the person buying the Toro, the wheel horse. And he said, we need this. But I did that for all those years. And then I woke up at 53 and said, what are you doing? And what's my it? So I went back to school at St. Thomas for get my master's degree in Aristotelian thinking. Now here's a kid who never made it through third grade. You familiar with the program? I don't know why I keep looking at you, Rizzo. Look, I'm St. Andrew's Catholic School, Waterloo, Iowa. 3 years with Sister Athanasius. Yes, and I have not caught up with my sister. Do you understand? Who was 2 years behind me. Now you think that's funny. That's pain. Because I'm now the oldest student at our alumni retreats, classes, reunions. I finally went to sister. I said, can I get into 4th grade? This nun said to me, and I love her. She's still alive today. She's in Dubuque. I went to see her. She said, you're shaving. You qualify for 4th grade. The reason I'm standing before you is I shaved in 3rd grade. No, but the beauty of that is when I went back to school to finally become a real student in the depths of what I was teaching, I discovered that was one of the most important things that happened in my life. Because in those 3 years, I learned that something's going on in the classroom that I need to dig deeply into. I need to learn something. And learning is not learning, it's application. It's not studying. And I do college campuses once in a while. I say, are you learning or are you studying? If you're studying, then you're gathering information. If you're learning application. There's a total difference in those two things in education. Teacher comes up to me and I say, what do you do? And they say that I teach. I say, no, you prepare kids for life. Education is of what they're learning in advance of the challenge they're going to have in daily life. Whenever I say that, there's a whole, it's just like right there. We need to define what we are in language, what we are in language, what we do as people at a higher level than ever before. Seriously. What do we do? Capturing magic moments in people's lives. That came from Eastman. That had nothing to do with anything else. Mayo is the same way. I haven't worked for Mayo, but I admire Mayo because they finally decided to consolidate their efforts in Rochester and quit fooling around with all these other locations that they can't even communicate with in Scottsdale or in Jacksonville, Florida. They've decided to bury their into health and forget the medicine part of the program. That's a huge shift. That was the Mayo. I went back and read this. Our daughter's in college at Mayo. I went back and read this. That's where the Mayo brothers were. The Mayo brothers were driven by health, not by medicine. And what's happened over these years, and I can't be critical about this, but I'm getting to the age where the pillbox isn't far apart. Don't get me started. Look, I've had diagnoses that I don't like either. Do you understand? Okay, it's not what you do. What you do with happens to you. And until I'm down and out and can't get on my feet, I'm going to keep doing what? This, because the message is more important than me. The message of the reality to find purpose in your life and meaning in your life and joy in your life is more important than whatever reality I brought it to. I fill rooms with 32 and younger kids who are lost and disenfranchised and have student debts of $150,000 who went to school to get a degree so they could get a career, and they don't have either of them. And then they didn't get a life. I had to go to college to get a what? A life, and then have life lead you to what? I'll give you the words. Sounds like. Then lead you to career. But they're so devastated that they went to school to be such and such. Engineer. Went to school to be an engineer, came out, and all of a sudden life deviated. Whether it did or not, that's important. But find yourself. Don't come out and not find yourself. And these kids are sharp. I mean, they're better than you. I'm not wasting my time with the age of this group. I'm not ready. There's a few people in here that give me some energy. But the rest of it is trying, can he slow down? Can he quit shaking? I'm going to shake the whole time. Is that all right? A medication that stops that. And if you don't get it, don't close your eyes. It's okay. But these kids, they're so sharp and they're so intelligent. But intelligence is not the secret, honey. Application is the secret. If you can't apply it to something and you can't find the purpose for which you were created in your life, what are you going to do the rest of your life? Wander around like the rest of us? There's two groups that read the book. It's a book. I brought you the books, by the way. Over 55 or under 32. How many of you qualify over 55? Oh, massive. You're lost, you're ignorant, and you're stupid. And don't take that personally. Stupid. Ignorant is you. I came to terms in my own life with this. Ignorant is you don't know that you don't know and you don't know. It's like telling people you're retiring. I'm sorry I'm laughing about that, but I haven't found a lot of people in retirement who have figured it out. They just stay busy. How was your day today? I'm retired. Were you busy? Oh, busier than I was when I was working. Don't give me that line. That's a hope. Now, some of you are doing meaningless things like I did in my own life. No, I used to do the program where you got done at the end of the day, and how much you got done gave you the value of what your existence was. You remember that program? And then we took a class, some of us, on how to prioritize. I wrote part of that class called Getting More Done Through and With Other People. And you prioritize ones, twos, and threes, and you're supposed to start on the ones. And man, if we got to 10, that was the best day we've ever had, right? And what we're doing is we're just moving this day tomorrow because we didn't get it done this day, so we put it at the top of the list tomorrow because we don't know what true value is. And it wasn't a 1 on the previous days, but now it's a 1, right? And you live 40 years of 1s that are 3s. Great life. Now, I'm not trying to be hard on you, but I got to wake you up. Same with 32-year-olds. In between, you don't care. In between 32 and 55, get your hands up. Be proud that you're really lost. No, here's the problem with that. That's when you're really into it, to being invaluable or unvaluable. That's when you're really into busy. And busy keeps you from knowing yourself. We don't teach kids in school to do any reflection. We don't teach kids to think about it. They're too busy thinking about that and how they pass the test and how they get GPA scores that are higher than any of us ever had. How do you get a 5-point GPA? And it's taken this to get into some of these colleges. I'm going, I think mine was 2.1. I begged my way into St. Thomas. I had to write a couple of papers. I gave them my books. They said, this is not up to the quality of St. Thomas authorship. I felt so bad for the person who had to tell me that, the dean of the School of Philosophy had to tell me that. I said, can I pray for you? No, I thought that. I'm not up to, so I ordered a couple of classes, wrote a couple of papers. So where am I going with this? The world is taking us away. And I don't need to be political. I'm a journalist. Journalists don't need to be political. We need to be truthful. There's a total difference. And I don't see much truth. The world believes in relativism. That's your truth, my truth, nobody else's truth. My truth, you got your truth. Our truths don't need to be the same. I think in Aristotle's time, that was a misnomer. Truth is always whether it's your truth or my truth, it's our truth. If there's not unity in truth, there's no unity in community. Why is this group growing so well, Don? Why are you doing so well? Because you have a unity of what? Ideology and spirit. I felt it when I came in. This group is sustainable because that's where it's at. Not because you have great speakers, but hopefully the speakers talk to truth. They don't talk to speculation. That's huge. We get together, and the louder we are, the more our truth seems to be listened to. Isn't that sad as a journalist? I can sit across the table and I just yell at you. I don't get that channel anymore. I canceled $180 a month. And I'm not political. But the world was created in my life. Not in my life, but in my speculation, it was created. You can call it anything you want it to be. And I believe in 84% of our minds, there's something bigger than us in their life, and that's Pew Research. Pew Research says 84% of it, I think 100% of you in this room believe there's something bigger in your life than you. And you'd like to know more about it. You'd like to know if it has influence in your life, where's the influence? If it has a guiding hand in your life, where's the guiding hand? If it's bringing you opportunities, how do you identify them rather than all the possibilities you create for yourself that never come to be and you can't figure out why you can't get there? That's a very important truth. We create possibilities. The intent in our life has opportunities. And the closer you to get to the Monahans of the world, where they saw the opportunity, not the pizza possibilities, things take off. Because energy leads itself in our lives. The spirit of us leads itself to what's coming to us, not what we're creating for ourselves. And that's why you look at the John Deeres and the Mayo Clinics And the Kodaks who missed it. And the sad part was I was standing there yelling at him. He can't miss this. But he's so busy trying to figure out how to lower the price less than Fujifilm in the marketplace. And I said, Don, it's going away. He said, I know, but I have to ride it out. I said, no, you don't. What do the kids call it now? Pivot. Pivot. It's the first digital camera in the United States. First, they had the technology, and they gave it away because they didn't do, what did you say, 7 Habits? Stephen Covey said?
The main thing is keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing. And I've met Covey back when he was still alive. 7 Habits. 7 Habits. I believe in 7 Habits. Now I think Stephen was a little off. Right? And I tell him this if I was with him. Because he made belief one habit. I think belief is the ideology of all the habits. What I believe is not a department of my life. It's the basis upon my relationships, my work, my philanthropy. It's the basis of it. Changes the whole skew if that's what you do. What do you put first? The main thing. The main thing. So anyway, relativism is getting us. Polarization is getting us. We need to come back to the center of our own reality. So 4 or 5 little truths. Number 1, your skills will never get you anywhere. Your gifts get you everywhere. Your skills will never get you anywhere. They wear you out. Skills are things you learn to do. Gift is a thing you received that you didn't know anything about. Every one of you has a character in you that's different than everybody else's character. Now, is that possible? Well, I don't know, but I've met a lot of people. 20-some thousand a year I meet. Well, I don't meet them. I fly by them at the door. And I see different character in everybody because the application of the opportunities they were brought differentiates the character that they have. The character. DNA is the title of the book. Divine Natural Attribute. What is the one thing in you that you can do, surprisingly, without thinking about it, better than anybody else and amazes the people around you? So the people, this is your tip. Somebody comes up, how do you do that? I said, do what? Well, how do you do that? All my clients used to say, how do you talk to 6 people and tell us where we're going to take the company the rest of the time we exist? I said, I don't know. I don't know. I talk to 6 of their best dealers and I come back and say, you need to be making the farmer's life easier, not selling tractors. The tractors will sell themselves for $500,000 combine dollars a year. The relationship is based upon you making me and my life be easier. I don't know how I do that. And those are the characteristics of it. But skills will never be a gift. A skill becomes a talent, which feeds the gift. So in the midst of my change in life in 2001 on October 23rd, I didn't give up speaking, but I became a better student of what I should be learning rather than what I was speaking on. And then I found out the things I was speaking on were all truth. Teleology is the truth. Corporate understand. So do you. You need to understand. First a trillion words finds the means to get there. If I'm headed to heaven, I do different things in the day than if I'm headed to hell. Does that make any difference? Yeah, now I don't want to bring hell up in a group like this, but life is hell. People say there is no hell. I said, tell me about your day. Oh, life is messy. Today was hell. I said, yeah, well, let's try to figure out why it was hell. Because you were just busy doing things you shouldn't have been doing while you should have been doing things you should have been doing, but you can't figure out the difference. Did I slow that down for everybody? And that's typically what happens. The tension in life, when people come to see me once in a while, I do these little things called Time with Thom. And usually it's somebody calling in from somewhere in the country that read the book or heard about me somewhere. And they just want me to talk to them. And I say, I'll give you 50 minutes. Talk about yourself. And I record them. And it is fascinating. Then I send them the recording digitally. You are. And they say, oh, I know that. I say, when your energy goes up in the conversation, you'll know who you are. Metaphysically, your energy goes up when you get close to who you are. I've recorded people on video and done the same thing. And their whole body shifts when they get close to something that they should be doing, they're not doing, or close to what their it is. It's fascinating to me. Fascinating. And I'm not a scientist. You know, I don't try to figure this out. I'm an acceptor. Does that make any sense? In other words, I'm probably the biggest believer you ever met because what I've observed in my own life in the last 17 years is just waking me to the reality that I was focused on production, I was focused on money, I was focused on the platform, I was focused on the house, focused on the boat, focused on the plane. You familiar with the program? Got to be 53, I had all those things. And then I found out I shouldn't have them because They're confusing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So skills and possibilities and habits. Teleology says the quality-defined end draws the action to get there. This is huge. And that's what I did for Toro and Steele and Harley and Mike Wright at SuperValue, is I moved them closer to where they were going or where they thought they needed to be going, and then qualified that in truth, and then changed the way they were attempting to get there. And we still make mistakes. But the beauty of this is if you know where you're going, what you need to do shows up. That's the interesting part of this from an Aristotelian point of view. Aristotle believed that if you knew where you were going, the things you needed to have to get there show up. So technically, you have no choice. This is what you need to do. You need to get a truck in the field for a farmer, not a bigger dealership that costs you $3 million to build a building that sticks out in a small town bigger than everything else. You need more trucks. That popped up. We started having every dealer get a truck in the field. And then we put in a relate system that would call the truck when the tractor was having problems. Why call the farmer? Call the truck. Have the truck pull into the driveway, and the farmer's sitting there and said, "What are you here for?" I said, "Your tractor isn't working." He said, "Thank you. I didn't want to deal with it today." You deal with it. I mean, farmers don't want to own the tractors anymore. They want Deere to own the tractors. Just keep it, John. And just take care of it, John. And just bill me for it, John. And just make sure it works, because I got a lot of other stuff going on in this messy life in agriculture in America today. And I'm not a farmer. Unbelievable. So what happens in the midst of this? Characteristics of gift. So you say, how do I get to gift? It's metaphysical. What does that mean? That's a big word for a third grade guy. Oh, by the way, in high school I was survived because I was a freshman in high school with a car. I'm not too bright. I had 52 girlfriends. So we got to be juniors, and then they all had a... Oh, sorry. The tough things in life you realize when you pretended that you were something. Bingo. There's 5 characteristics. One is metaphysical. That means it's so much a part of you, you can't define it for somebody else. You can't even define it for yourself. You don't know you do it. You just do it because it's so much part of you. Any of you have any of that? And you think it's a skill. But a skill you can develop, a skill you can heighten, a skill you can train, a skill you can put a process around. That's the difference between a gift. A gift has no process. It has a pattern of application. Totally different. So when do you do something that you don't even think about, that you just kick in and do it? And is that a skill or a gift? And then, as I said before, if your gift, like mine was, because I backed up and said, well, it's speaking. You know, I'm in the Hall of Fame, whoopee, whoopee. You know, I got the Cabot, whoopee, whoopee. That's a 25-pound piece of steel. It's formed by our founder that they give to us so we don't ever forget that we got to replicate we got to live up to the standard. I took it somewhere, Manny, the other day. I almost died taking it down. They videotaped the little thing. I thought I was a speaker. A speaker for me is a skill, not a talent. The talent is looking at something and unpacking it to truth. I believe that's my gift. My gift is looking at something, hearing about it, and somehow be able to unpack it to the it. And I think that's what happens when people call me. I show them how to unpack themselves to the it. And I don't even know how I do it. That's why I do the recording, so they can find their it. Number 3, the energy comes to the gift, not to anything else. Isn't that interesting? How many of you go home tired at night? Yeah, use your skills all day. There is no energy in the skill. Theologically, philosophically, there is no energy in the skill. It's something you learned to do, doing what you're doing, not being what you're being. The gift is about being. The gift is about doing. I'm a pretty good speaker, you know, and I learn skill. I can teach you to do a keynote in front of 150 people. I can opening story, signature story, major point that gets their attention that doesn't make any sense to them. How am I doing? So they listen up and say, what's he saying? 3 points with stories anchored in them because they remember the story, not the point. So you got to start with the story and end with the point. You don't start with the point and end with the story. Don't get me started on people who reverse it. You remember those stories. Number 4 is take an action. Call them to do something with what they're learning or exposed to that will be different for them after they leave the meeting. And then close with a grill story, my signature story. Everybody wants to hear the grill story. I'm not going to give you the grill story. You'll have to have me back. Anyway, that's how you do it. And you walk around and there's a triangle on the floor. There's a triangle right here, and I walk the triangle. That means I'm spreading it out. And I never read a speech. Why don't I read a speech? Because it's better to forget what you were going to say than it is to read what you wanted to say, because it's no effect. Get the notes out of your hands, friends. I'm serious. Don't get me started on preachers and pastors. The few of them call me. They got the greatest message in the whole world and they destroy it because they stay at an ambo and they read it because they want everybody to get the intent of it. But it's not impactful enough. Wow. And then be sure that you can entertain yourself when the group is not entertaining. And in all honesty, I'll tell you, there's times when I'm just up here entertaining myself. And I've learned to do a pretty good job at it because I lived 3 million miles on the road by myself while my wife did a great job raising 4 wonderful young adults now. And I'm embarrassed by that. But embarrassment is a secular word, and humility is a sacred word. And I've decided to move the reality of my life where I failed to humility and not away from, what did I say? Embarrassment. Interesting, isn't it? And I find the more I move the language, the more effective I am in living up to it. The more I move the language, the more I'm able to explain that I unpack truths so people live their daily lives and experience the divine hand in their life, the more I'm able to live up to it. And my perception. That's why those sheets of paper there. Those sheets of paper are designed to give you the language of the optimist. Is that right? That's what it's about. And that's why I'll bet every meeting you guys go through that. Is that not true? That's right. That's it. Every meeting we find the ideology of Optimist in front of us in print, in language, so we all walk out of here with a better sense of why we were all in here. Now what do? I suppose most of you don't even journal. I never journaled in the old days. I kept track of my success. That's not journaling. I should have journaled, though I was a journalist. Carry around a little book and write down things that you have insights for. I call them inklings. And then take some time to figure out where they run together. So you're getting energy in your life. And the beautiful thing I discovered was there is no happiness in life. It's pulled over the wool of our eyes, friends. There is no happiness. I have met people who get happy and then get unhappy and then get happy and then get unhappy. Happiness is not sustainable. Isn't that interesting? Because you run into some crap. Sorry about that. That's a worse word I'm going to use. My ratings went down the year I did that one. Used bad language. Now I look at TV and I go, crap is nothing. What they're saying is crap. Sorry about that. Unbelievable. But it's joy, friends. It's joy. It's joy in life that makes a sense out of something that doesn't make sense. It's not happiness. Happiness, I'll guarantee you, is attached to my wall in my library and all the pictures on the walls in my library and all the 25-pound things sitting on pedestals in my library. And they're all going away. Things that I accumulate go away. That I become last. It's what I became or realized in my life that gave me that plaque. It's not the plaque. Came as a result of the. Brings me to another truth. Did I get the energy one? I got the energy one, right? That's big. If you even recorded yourself explaining yourself, you don't need me to coach you into this. That's why I don't charge for it. How can I charge for something you should be doing yourself? Wow, listen to yourself. Talk about yourself. Explain the 5 characteristics of what you think about your particular gift. And then take a day and go back and listen to it again. And listen to where it goes up. It's like the old Desi Arnaz Lucille Ball production that I studied in college, is they used to do their show in front of a live audience. Why? Because they want to get rid of everything that didn't excite the audience. They want to edit it all out. The first 2-camera production in the United States was by those who were hot at the time. They went to their audience to sculpture and customize their programs they did on television by watching where the audience got excited about what they were doing. Unbelievable. We're in research. That's what we try to do. What we're presenting, where do you get excited about it, and what does the excitement apply to in your own life? But you have to do it yourself. Don't get 5 people together and go, listen to this and tell me what you think. That's the first thing you do when your life changes. I call all my friends and say, can we have lunch? I call Manny on the phone. I say, Manny, let's have lunch. I said, Manny, I said, here I am at this point in my life. What should I do? Manny has no idea what I should do. He will tell me what he would do if he was me. And he's never going to be me. Look at this guy. This guy's a brain. He is the doctor of listening in the world. I'm a little guy from Waterloo, Iowa who's not over 5'4". The only reason I'm capable of professing what I'm professing is people don't understand what I'm professing, so they hang on. We got to have that guy back. We didn't get it. We told him a keynote for an hour. We needed 3 days. And then he won't shut up and he won't take a breath. I had one CEO write me. Sam Allen actually said this from John Deere. He said, if you would take a breath, your mouth with your brain, and I can you're saying. They don't understand that they still don't understand. Because they think there's some. And that's why they've been around for 160 years. There's something about what they do that, in spite of what they do wrong, takes them back to the founding principles of where they came from. The gift that they were given at their founding. But everybody wants to leave the founding principles, right? Think about how many companies want to be everything for. Think about you. It was the same in my own career. I would do this speech and this speech and this speech, and then somebody woke me up and said, Winninger, you're wasting your time here. These are not manufacturers with dealers. Get back to your zone. And sometimes the zone will help you understand what you're doing. And then I had to go back to school to figure out, I'm unpacking something they want to know how to apply. If I'm not doing that, then what am I doing? If I'm not taking an insight like teleology and showing a dealer how if they define qualifiably the end game and do the the what? The main thing, thank you. I jumped on you there. I was floating too. I didn't have the answer. I wanted you to come up with it for me. See, we don't get old, we get mindless. Then we're looking for cues. So why do I miss it? Hands down, you're all too busy. And you accumulate busyness as a quantifiable end. You accumulate actions as a quantifiable end, not as beings as a quantifiable end. I would say to this a week from now, put a tag on your calendar and write down what you have become as a result of being at this meeting that maybe was different than what you were when you walked in here. What have you become as a result of this meeting that's different than what you were when you came in here? And I'm not talking about a commitment to be a member. That's all part of it. Because it's not being a member. It's what I get as a member. It's how it feeds the reality of what I need to become, not what I don't come to this meeting to be confirmed in what I am. I come to this meeting to find a challenge in what I need to be, and that's not change. Only the truth is there is no change, friends. There is only transformation. There is no change. Change doesn't work. Pivot doesn't work. Don't get me started. We can unpack that. It's a mind mapping thing sometime, if you want to spend 3 hours and I go to sleep in the middle of it. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just saying there is so much garbage we're being fed out there that came to me when I started looking at this. I was so embarrassed when I went back to school that I didn't understand theology. I didn't understand the truth of things that are bigger than us. And how I was doing it, but it wasn't affecting what I was doing because I didn't appreciate the application of truth. It's not about what you make, it's about the people that you have to make it. That was good to great. That was who? Jimmy Collins. Theological principle is who's on your darn bus. Well, Jim was a little different than me. Jim was loading his bus. He said, who do you want on your bus? I said, man, Jim, my bus is already full of people I don't want. My goal is, what do I do with people I don't want without getting rid of the people to make I don't think I can get. He said, that's another book. But it is true. It's true. The understanding of your people to the it is more important at first than the quantifiable and qualifiable ability to produce functionality. If our people don't know that we're in the business of gaining resites for people who can't see what their customers want, that's our it. You need to leave with an insight from us in research. I don't care what it is, the challenge of that in the midst of it. So you're too busy. You're mind mapping somebody else, not yourself. You're modeling against somebody else. Model against their character, not what they're doing. I can't, look, as much as I wanted to play basketball for Al McGuire Marquette. How'd I do? Yeah, we're laughing about this one. And I was there in El McGuire years. I was there when his son Allie, who was in my class, would say, let's go to practice. Oh, can you come to practice? I want to see you practice. I said, I want to be on the team. And he'd break down and go, he said, my dad's never going to let that happen. But what a role model, huh? What a role model. I don't have the physical characteristics to do it. So I got I'm not supposed to be, and that's called change. I got a buddy who says he's moving to Key West. Going to change his life. Going to become a better person in Key West. That's a good one. Going to become a better person in Key West. Sorry, I've been there a lot. He's going to go to Key West. He called me back. He said it didn't work. I said, I could have saved you the trip. He said, why didn't it work? He says, well, why didn't it work? I said, because you took you with you. This is big. The relationship didn't work. Why didn't it work? Why did the next one not work and the next one not work? Because you took you with. Get a new job so you get a new self. Impossible. You're taking the old self to the new opportunity. You're not ready. I have a little prayer that says, leave me where I'm at long enough to prepare me for where you're taking me. Whoa! Then I know why I'm stuck here. Leave me where I'm at long enough to prepare me for where you're leading me. That's a better prayer if you want it. Let me figure out today what I need to be. Let me transform here so I arrive transformed there. It's critical. And I'd say this to any of you. If you want to dial 612-801-3194 sometime when you got nothing else to do, I pick up on the other end. And I'll answer your question. Now you got to give me 24 hours because I give that number to 20,000 people a year. But don't worry, nobody calls me anyway because they didn't understand what I was offering. There's a method to my madness. But watch the energy. Watch the energy. So what I need to do in the 5 minutes I've got. Number one, I'm ahead. Number one is language yourself and read your own language. Why do most people write a book? They're not writing it for you. I didn't write Your True DNA, Finding God's Gift Within You for you. I didn't want to write it. I wrote it because the editor of my last book called me on the phone here 3 years ago out of the blue, Candace, and said, you're writing a book, I'm going to edit it for you for free. You're writing the book, she said. I said, first of all, Candace, I don't know why you called me, and secondly, I'm not writing a book, and third, I don't want you to do it for free. She said, then you don't want me to do it. I said, no, I don't want you to do it. She said, you're going to do it. Seriously, I can't argue with this person. I said, well, I'm journaling. Send me your journal. I'm not going to send you my journal. We're arguing on the phone like this. I had some personal stuff in the journal. She said, well, take the personal stuff out. Or cross it over like they do on political. The redacted. Thank you for helping me with that one. I didn't get that word either. Redacted. So I redacted about 2/3 of it, and I sent it to her. And she wrote the first chapter. Yeah. That you don't seek the divine, you surrender to the divine. Then the sad part is I'm successful, which leads me to believe that he's giving me that because I'm successful. But I'm not fulfilled, so hey, wait a minute. Maybe it isn't coming to me. Maybe I'm still creating it, claiming it's coming to me. Interesting concept, isn't it? So what of my life came to me, and what of my life did I go after that really was supposed to be for me because it came to 2 jobs I got that came to me. The speaking came to me. I didn't go after speaking. I was invited to speak because I sold my dad to my brother and it hit the trade press. Well, I was in construction business. Dad and I were particular. At East, we were members of the association. I think I was president. SOBs, Sons of the Boss. Yeah, Sons of the Boss. And Larry and I just, well, hands down, we got into it. And he begged me away from a great job headed to NBC New York. Brian Double, to get paid what I was worth. Now, only a few people know that story in there. You work with a family company, you're going to get paid less if you're not telling me how you do it. We have a daughter who runs our company. And I always feel bad about the fact, you could go somewhere else for a third more than we pay her. But, it's a joy to work with us. Mom and me. Maybe mom and not me. And it hit the trade press, and I got 30 speaking engagements by small businesses all over America and dealers to come in and speak with them on how you sell a dad to your brother. But that wasn't the point. The point is, how do you live big and be small? How do you live big as a small business? How do you live big as a small business? How do you be a leader as a small business? How do you own the category you're in a small town so you don't have to compete? How do you find the it? I was really doing that. I just wasn't calling it that. And that's what happened. You got to language it. I unpack truth so people can take it into daily lives and find the divine hand in their life so clearly that they know what and how and when to apply it. But bad things get good. I believe that philosophy. My grandmother taught me that. Grandma Murphy. She said, you know, everything, if lived the right way, can turn for the good. And in my own life, that happened. Turn for the good. It took me 17 years to get to you from the glass nose. Interesting. Language. Number 2, look for the energy. Always look for the energy. Where the energy is coming from, passion follows. You don't go after passion, friends. You go after the energy, and the energy leads you to passion. It's just like you don't go after meaning. You go after purposeful living, and you find what? Meaning. Read all the books on purpose. You're going to fail. I read all the books on purpose after I failed. And I didn't fall out of the business, but I wasn't there. There was no passion there. There was no commitment there. And I read all these books on purposeful life. And the sad part of it was purpose is a byproduct. And then I found out you got to get the gift to get the passion. You got to apply something that brings energy into your life, that brings the purpose and the call that you can live whether you're in any job. Because it's not the job that defines you, it's what you bring to the job that defines you. Think about that. The company and what they make, it's what they do to form the company to produce the product. It's not the product itself. That's what Jim Collins was trying to get to in the book. So here where we're at. So I wrote the book. There it is. So a guy sends me $5,000 who I don't even know. Seriously. I opened up this envelope from Bonita Springs, Florida. Didn't even know the guy, and there's a $5,000 check made out personally to me in it, and he said, I heard you're writing a book. This is to help fund it. I cried. I said, okay, what's the message in this? I can't sell the book? I got to give it away? Well, I gave every one of my other 6 books away. I got a garage park full of them. So I get rid of them. I give them to Amazon, and Amazon sells them for $2. Oh, with a signature, it's worth $1 more. And the book got produced. Salem Publishing did the book. Surprisingly enough, they're all printed here in Minnesota. I didn't know that. They're printed at Bang Publishing in Brainerd. It's the number 3 hardcover publisher in the United States. They do the Harry Potter book on one press, and 750,000 of them. And they do my little book at 2,000 and 3,000 run at a time on the other press, once every 2 months. I don't sell the book. There it is. That's everything I talked about in a linear format. And you can't buy them from me. But you can go to Amazon and pay $20, or you can go to Barnes & Noble and pay $20. If you'd like to take one of those, take it. If you'd like to fund the movement so I can go out and do young adults groups, which is really the challenge I have right now, who don't have any money because they went downtown for happy hour in Minneapolis or St. Paul. I know they got money. It's just where they align it. You could help us out with that. There's a little white envelope on there. If you want to take 1, 2, or 3 and put something in the envelope to help me with that, that'd be great. There's enough for everybody, I think. If you want to take an extra one, take an extra one. You got some young 32-year-old or less that needs to read it. Take one for them. It's a message that's being passed on, and it changes your world. Changes the world. And I'm not trying to change the world. It's just people come up to me. I got 5 theologians on that book that said, this is amazing. We never thought about the gift process and the single gift and the multiple talents. The talents are the things that bring you to gift. My talent is speaking to bring people to the gift of insight. My gift is not speaking. You see where I'm going with that? I'll take 2 questions. Does that work?
Oh, absolutely.
2 questions. I like to finish early. I am a back time speaker. In other words, I don't care how long you want me to speak. I just want to finish on time I'm supposed to finish on. Because the brain goes, corporations, I follow the president speaking. And they don't stop. Or some politician speaking. And they don't have an end time. That's personal. I was just complaining there. That's a sin. That's okay. A question about everything that I threw out. Please. You're 32.
I'm actually 24, but...
Oh, give him a round of applause. And the beauty of this, he's a member.
Let's see him. Key guy. Thanks, Dad,
Dad. Oh, fun. Isn't that fun? Yeah. Yes, and thank you for splitting up tables for us. Yeah. My dad and I were both in Rotary.
Oh.
Yeah, for 15 years. Yeah.
I was going to ask, how did you come about finding out what your gift was of unpacking?
Doing exactly what you did here, reflecting on myself, how I reacted to things, what I could do that I didn't know I could do, and what did that mean? Where does the energy coming from? It took a long, let me share this with you. It takes forever to do this. I got to give you a disclaimer. You can't walk out of this room and write it down and live it forever. You can't do that. Because if you could, then it'd be perfect. And nothing in the divine intent in your life is perfect. It's all discoverable. Does that make sense? So I really can't tell you exactly that unpacking truth in my life, in your life, in what I'm doing, gets people closer to that, except that they confirm it, not me. And you know, I've got 4,000 people that follow me and follow this material. And out of those 4,000, I probably get 2 responses a month. Now, I've never been a minister, but I suspect there's some ministers, preachers in here who feel the same way. I'm supposed to get 4,000 responses. That's me doing that. That's not me doing that. That's that anger that comes up in me. I'm supposed to get 4,000 responses with this great stuff God gave me to share the good news with. And I get 1. It was good. It was awesome. But if you want to talk through it sometime, 612-801-3194. Or Google my last name. I'm at 40,000 locations. Not because I have social media. Don't get me started. It's because I'm a journalist. And for 40 years I've written. And I've published 300 and some articles. And people I publish them for, write them for, load them somewhere. So WINNINGER.com will get you right to me. So hear it for the question. Great question.
What's your telephone number?
612-801-3194. I'm going to give you a little disclaimer. Call the number I won't pick up. Okay, I don't want you to be surprised. But tell me where you were at so I know. Tell me you were at this meeting. You'd like to talk about something, and if you're open to share the angle you want, that's great. You don't have to. I learn not to ask people what they want to know about when they email me or whatever. So 612, he's a listener, 612-801-3194. But remember at this meeting, then I'll take this. It's not what I said, it's what you heard when I said it. That's why I don't use PowerPoint and I don't give you things to fill in. You need to listen to yourself when I'm talking, not listening to me when I'm talking. That's huge. We have to learn to tune in on the reality of ourselves in our relationship with what's happening in our life. Not what somebody else is saying about themselves. You with me on that? That's why even the story I tell, I'm a little reluctant to tell it because you think about the story and not about yourself. You think about you. Okay, now please.
How long after you hit your 53 and free, how long did it take before you decided that you didn't have an it and you found it?
No, it took about 18 months to figure out I didn't have an it. It took another 18 months, it got me to 3 years, to figure out I needed it. Because you build a career around what you think is the it, and then it ends up not. You've had this. You devote your whole life to something, and then it goes away. And then you go, what do I do with this? Why? Then, as Scott said, then we sit around with the why questions. Why did I get this diagnosis? You got it. You're never going to know why. There's no answer to most whys. You're going to go back in your DNA and try to figure out that you didn't deserve it, that somebody else gave it to you? Woo! Whoopee! You got it! What am I supposed to do with it? What am I supposed to learn from it? How should I adjust my life in relationship to it? That's with everything. What do I learn from losing the job? What do I learn from the relationship not going anywhere? What happens to me progressively? Because at this very moment, each of you are the progressive realization of what you will ever be. That is a Aristotelian truth. At this moment, you are packed with everything you need to have to be what you're supposed to be. You just have to discover it. So quit looking for the new. Try to get back to the it that probably has been tipped off to you many times and you missed it because you're too busy not watching the energy, modeling yourself after somebody else, not learning to reflect effectively. And there was one more at this table.
You done a TED Talk?
I have not. I have been asked to do a TED Talk. I can't get me into 20 minutes. It doesn't fit. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't fit. But, thank you. My mother was in labor for 4 days before I was born. I came out with this. The ego that the life owes me something. That's very good. But there is video. If you go to my website, there's 52 3-minute videos there. If you go to Wininger.com and click resources, there are 52 3-minute videos that unpack this whole, I should have said that, unpack this. Maybe nobody's going to my website because I'm not telling them. That unpack all this. And then you can click up and get the daily reflection if you want to have the daily. So it's a little more theology for some, too much for some people, but it's there. Okay? Yes, I got to go. The book. So on the table are the books. Grab a, there's an envelope on the table if you'd like to do something. If you've got a credit card and you don't have any money, because my kids don't carry money anymore, so I'm carrying money when I go to New York to visit them. A lot of money. It's Manhattan. Is you can write the credit card number on there, and I'll call you. We'll get it if you want to do that. So we have extra books under the table. I've got a truck in the parking lot. That's yeah. That was told to say that. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you. Oh yeah, I'm staying up. Okay. Oh hey! I love you! Now sit down!
Thom, thank you very much. It was a wonderful, wonderful eye-opener
nice.
for us. Yeah, I'm very nice. But I'm sorry, it's not 25 pounds like you normally get your big bags.
For me it is. I got to pull it back.
I hope that everyone here today has an opportunity to go back and if you didn't catch it all, remember that this will be posted on our webpage.
Oh, that's right.
And you'll be able to look at this all over again and take notes at home, stay up late, and unpack your it so you're ready to go. Lose sleep and all those things.
I do have to share this. So you have no idea what this means to me. In 1975, my dad became an optimist. And for 15 years, he was an optimist in Waterloo, Iowa. And he used to take me to lunch at the Optimist Club. And I didn't qualify, so they put me in Rotary.
Well, you qualify now.
Do I qualify now?
You qualify now, yes you do.
Thank you.
And we'd love to have you here. But I think that the Optimist Creed will help you get your it out, and I know it will help everyone out here to get their it out. So please, let's start the meeting with our Optimist Creed. There's copies on your table. Those that can't see that far, this is it. I've got some bigger pages.
Oh, good. I need the bigger ones.
Get the bigger one.
Thanks.
Yeah. So,
oh, yeah, that's
are
better.
you ready? Promise yourself to
Be strong, that nothing can disturb your peace of mind.
To talk health,
Happiness and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them.
To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only on the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large to worry, too noble to forget, too strong to fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble.
Wow.
Good day. Have a great afternoon,
Wow.
a great weekend, and we'll see you in another month.
Wow.
Take care.
Wow.